Have you ever wondered what it truly means to be called a man after God's own heart? This title was given to David, a shepherd boy who later became one of the greatest kings in biblical history. Yet the mystery is not found in his royal achievements or military victories. David was not perfect. In fact, the Bible openly reveals many of his struggles, weaknesses, and mistakes. Still, God described him in a way that no other king in Israel's history was described. This raises an important question for every believer seeking a deeper spiritual life. What exactly made David so special in the eyes of God? The answer is hidden in a place many people overlook today. And that place is David's secret prayer life. Long before he ever sat on a throne, David learned how to speak to God with honesty, passion, and complete dependence. When he was alone in the fields as a young shepherd, watching over his father's sheep during quiet nights, David developed a habit that would shape the rest of his life. Instead of allowing loneliness or fear to fill his heart, he turned those moments into conversations with God. Those prayers were not formal speeches or religious routines. They were genuine expressions of his heart. The book of Psalms reveals how David poured out his thoughts, fears, gratitude, and worship before God without hiding anything. This level of honesty created a deep intimacy with God that few people experience. Many spiritual teachers, including Joshua Selman, often emphasize that intimacy with God is built through sincere and consistent communication. David understood this secret long before he became king. His prayer life became the foundation of his strength, his wisdom, and his ability to trust God, even in the most difficult seasons of his life. Yet the true depth of David's prayer life becomes even more remarkable when we look at the seasons of pressure and uncertainty he faced. Many people pray passionately when life is comfortable, but their devotion weakens when challenges appear. David's story shows the opposite pattern. When danger surrounded him, his prayers became even more intense and sincere. There were moments when enemies chased him through the wilderness, when betrayal came from people he trusted, and when fear tried to overwhelm his heart. Instead of allowing those moments to push him away from God, David used them as opportunities to run toward God with even greater honesty. The Psalms reveal a man who was not afraid to speak openly before the Lord. Sometimes his prayers sounded like cries for help. Sometimes they sounded like songs of worship, and sometimes they carried the deep emotions of a man searching for understanding. This raw authenticity is what made David's relationship with God so unique. Teachers like Joshua Selman often explain that true spiritual intimacy grows when believers stop pretending before God and begin to approach him with genuine hearts. David did not hide his fears, his questions, or even his failures. Instead, he brought every part of his life before God in prayer. This created a connection that was deeper than ritual or tradition. But there is a powerful suspense hidden inside this story that many people overlook. Even with such a strong prayer life, David still faced seasons where answers did not appear immediately. There were long nights when danger seemed close and solutions seemed far away. Yet David continued to pray, continued to worship, and continued to trust. This persistence reveals a powerful spiritual truth. The strength of a believer's prayer life is not proven only when prayers are answered quickly, But when faith remains strong even in the waiting, as we look deeper into the life of David, it becomes clear that the secret behind his title as a man after God's own heart was not perfection, but persistence in seeking God. David's life reminds us that intimacy with God is not reserved for prophets or kings. It is available to anyone who chooses to approach God with sincerity and consistency. Through every season of his life, whether he was celebrating victory or facing personal failure, David returned to the same place of prayer. When he succeeded, he thanked God with songs of praise. When he sinned, he humbled himself and cried out for mercy. When he felt surrounded by enemies, he trusted God to be his refuge and strength. This continuous cycle of honest communication kept David's heart aligned with God, even when circumstances around him were uncertain. Many spiritual teachers, including Joshua Selman, often emphasize that the greatest spiritual strength a believer can develop is a genuine relationship with God that grows through daily conversation. David understood that prayer was not just a religious activity. It was a lifeline that connected his heart to the presence of God. Because of this, his faith remained alive in every season of life. The same invitation exists for every believer today. You do not need perfect words or a perfect life to approach God. What God desires most is a heart that is willing to come before him honestly, consistently, and passionately. When prayer becomes a natural part of your daily life, your relationship with God begins to deepen in ways that cannot be explained by logic alone. Just as David discovered, the greatest transformation happens when a believer chooses to seek God sincerely day after day. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.